Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've just missed the first points of the game between SACS and DF Malan, two Cape Town-based teams. Henny, did you see the first try?
Yeah, it was a fantastic try by Lucky Tlepu, the number 9 of SACS. Individualistic try. He scored from almost his own half, which was great to see. And now SACS immediately attacking. They've got numbers, but the number 8 doesn't need any numbers. Harvison.
Alex Halverson, if I'm not mistaken. I heard he's weighs 110 kilos, if I'm not mistaken. Big lad for a number 8 and fast as well.
Jeez, that was a fantastic run. He had numbers on his outside, but he just didn't need them.
Just ghosted past the defender. Got Geordie Hop, who was successful with the first conversion and is going to have another crack at this one. Score currently 12 points to SACS, and DF Malan not on the board yet, and we're just approaching the second minute of the game.
Yeah, apologies if you just joined. We were slightly delayed in going live with this match. We're coming to you live from Wynberg, part of the 175th birthday celebrations, as we watch that kick. That centre, Geordie Hop, I saw him play on Saturday as well. He's a dangerous player, and I think also one of the stars in the SACS lineup. Successful that penalty, and 2 minutes in, and we 14 points on the board already.
I do feel it's going to be a long day for DF Malan if they start like this. SACS riding high after their victory against the mighty Maritzburg College on Saturday. Ball going over the head there of SACS's lock, James Brewer. Bouncing, and SACS fortunate, still got the put in. It's Liam Larkin. Is he the captain?
I'm not sure that, but that Larkin, keep your eye on him. It's the hooker, isn't it, Rowan?
Correct, yes.
He's such a strong player. He keeps on his feet. I saw him on Saturday as well. He a very good player. He caught my eye.
Got a burly frame as well, and if I'm not mistaken, I heard his nickname is Rhino.
That's correct.
Clearly see why.
I hope he's not endangered.
Probably give a few red noses. Huge scrum there by SACS. But slow off the base of the scrum there by the 8th man, who's managed to regather it there for DF Malan. It's Fourie.
Andrico Fourie. DF Malan nou op die aanval. Probeer 'n paar aangee deur die hande sit. En dan sit hulle haker Louis Miller wat vorentoe beweeg. Die 8ste man Fourie, Andrico Fourie wat in spel kom. En dan die groot voorryman De Villiers, Roan De Villiers. Skram skakel van 'n Wat. Heinrich van 'n Wat wat wag. Lucky Tlepu.
It's Brewer going to ground there. Left-footed punt upfield.
David Hayes. Great step by the winger. And now it's the flanker. Going over in the same corner.
Tom Robinson. Serious gas he has as well. I mean, we've seen the clean set of yields by the 8th man earlier, and now Robinson also showing he's got some serious pace on his side.
Robinson says to Harvison, what you can do, I can do better.
Also big for a number 7.
Yeah, at the moment, DF Malan struggling to get their hands on the ball.
I did think the kick from number 10, David Hayes, wasn't very effective, but when it came down, it was well chased by the SACS team. Managed to regather and afford the opportunity for Robinson to to cruise over into the corner.
Jody Hop looking to add the 2 points. What a great kick. We've got a nice angle from behind that kick. Jody Hop, he is a fantastic player. Keep your eye on him, Rowan. He's a dangerous player as well.
So also listening to some commentary from Nick Maro, who was mentioning that he actually came from Holland, if I'm not mistaken, to come further his rugby in South Africa, and they interviewed him and he's found himself at SACS. Great acquisition.
DF Malan wat nou spel weer begin en dan die 3-drukker as that same 8-man now trying to run it back to DF Malan.
Halverson carrying the ball very strongly and Lepo waiting. Was it knocked on? No, seems like he's stepped into touch on the far side.
DF Malan, Louis Miller, wat kyk of hy sy sprangers kan vind by name Viljoen of Daniel Louisi.
Daniel Louisi is in the back line there, went to ground with it. We've got that 8th man again, bursting it up for Fourie.
Andrico Fourie. SACS now looking to keep it up, driving forward. And the referee decides that it's a scrum to SACS.
The SACS loose trio of Halverson, Robinson and Coles, Kyle Coles, they mobile and strong, big and strong as well. The loose trio for SACS. I think it could potentially be quite a long day for Muller and Thompson from DF Malan.
The score already 21 points to 0 with 8 minutes into this match. Lucky Ndlepu caught in possession by his opposite number, Van der Walt, for the same Van der Walt now. And now they change direction through the prop forward. Who's that number 1? Lotter, Richard Lotter.
And they
again, SACS now looking to keep it up.
Ruan Tyser being held up. SACS
stolen
very
by
quick
SACS.
to the ball.
Lucky Ndlepu coming to our side of the field. It's that Jody Hop trying to offload.
It's quite impressed there, is keeping ball in hand, keeping the defender off with his left arm and waiting right to the last moment, almost before going to ground, before popping the pass with his right arm underneath his body. Nice presence of mind there by Hop. Trying to keep that ball alive, and the SACS team, and I mean most SACS teams always like to play with ball in hand, don't they?
This is a good SACS team. I think they just lost by a couple of points to Paul Jim in Paul, and that in itself tells a story. SACS played here on Saturday. Who did they play against on Saturday? Can you remember, Owen? SACS, but I remember they...
SACS played in the final game against Maritzburg College and managed to win that game.
They trailed by, I think, 13 points to 0 within the first 8 minutes or so. And then they turned it around.
That's a good SACS team, this.
That is Hop. Jordy Hop sliding into his back line. Lucky Ndlepu now waiting. He's an exciting little scrum half. Opportunistic quick tap from Lucky Ndlepu. Now SACS looking to recycle. And they do so. They get the big guys involved. O'Reilly and Ferguson. Now they're coming this side. I think that's the Ferguson.
Yes, no, it's Cameron Lawrenson, the ginger hair in the back line. Getting it through the hands there, but unfortunately SACS penalised in the quarter of DF Malan. It looks like the fullback, if I'm not mistaken, Hanu Hubert, who hasn't found touch.
And that
Found
is a
Michael
big
Abrams.
mistake. Big mistake against SACS. You need to do the basics well. So once they start running against you, it's difficult to stop their momentum.
I'm not sure if that is Michael Ravenscroft. Very nice sniping run there.
DF Malan wat dan die strafskop wen en is hulle skramskakel van 'n wat kyk of hy spel kan verskuif en hy doen so tot amper op die middellyn. Ja, DF Malan trying to slow things down, walking to this line out. And now let's see if the hooker Louis Miller can find his locks and maybe start something from this line out. Miller now feeding. Well taken there by the big lock Brewer from SACS, Lucky Ndlepu. Now the same flanker, that number 7 flanker of SACS, Robinson. Now I'm being joined here by Nick. Nick Mauro, how are you going? Your team, how did they go?
Yes, Eddie, they won 2012 against a very committed Cameron Lawrenson over for the try there in the right-hand corner. Very committed under 16A side from DF Malan. I was very impressed by them. The SACS won 20 points to 12, but it wasn't all plain sailing. Some nervous moments towards the end there. How things going over here?
No, it's all SACS at the moment. We've unfortunately we had a slow start to the feed. We had some technical issues, but we're live now, and I'm quite glad I'm joined by Nick because he knows the SACS players very well, so I can stop my guesswork. But we've seen a couple of great individual tries from the number 8 Harvison and also Robinson. Those two guys both scored exactly the same tries from running out from deep.
Yes, as we saw on Saturday, particularly if you kick off poorly and deep to a guy like Halverson, he's got the physique and the speed to actually rip you apart. So DF Malan here already 26-0 down. If the score is correct on your screen, after 13 minutes, you need to be very careful about where they kick the ball and getting turned over. As we mentioned, SACS have a lot of firepower at their disposal, a big pack, and also some exciting backs. So DF Malan will need to be very careful.
Nick, who's this number 11? I think that name is wrong on the score sheet as well for SACS. He's been instrumental as well.
That looks like Michael Ravenscroft, number 11.
Okay, so then number 14 is...
Yes. So James Brewer, the captain, goes up well and takes that ball in the air. Lucky Ndlepu. A turnover. The coaches won't be happy with that.
Baie goed gedoen daar deur DF Malan, wat nou kyk of hulle die bal kan herwin en hulle doen so. Stuur die bal in die agterlyn af. Dit lyk daarna nommer 12. DF Malan wat nou vir die eerste keer in 'n lang tyd hulle hande op die bal kry. Skramskakel wat nou aanval deur hulle agste man Fourie wat ook al die oog gevang het, maar ongelukkig SACS wat afneem.
SACS taking that first kick-off and then for some reason not getting there quick enough to win the ball at the breakdown. Henny, if you remember that we commentated the Maritzburg College SACS game a couple of days ago and SACS was soundly beaten at the breakdown, and I'm sure there were many stern words said by the coaches to the boys about that particular facet of play. SACS getting turned over there straight from that kick-off, probably not something that the coaches would have liked at all.
I think you'll be glad to hear, Nick, that in this match so far, they've been very good on the loose ball. They turned a couple of balls over already, and especially by the backs, which caught my eye. So definitely something they spoke about. That's the one area that they lost against Maritzburg College, and as you rightfully say, something the coaching staff most probably looked at.
Much of the breakdown is actually around the ball carrier and the work he does on the ground in terms of placement, and then also the reaction time of the cleaners. So when rucking becomes a necessity, it means you're not doing those primary jobs well, and that often is the reason why you don't secure a decent ball at the breakdown. Certainly not quick ball.
Ongelukkig van wat die skramskakel daar van DF Malan wat nie die 3 punte kan byvoeg nie. Ek was my interessante keuse. Ek sou kantlyn toe geskop het as ek hulle is. SACS wat nou spel begin.
Kicks off to the left-hand side of the field. A decent kick chase line by SACS. Strong tackle there by Statler. The ball bobbles out the side.
Dieselfde van wat nou vorentoe skop en wat agterna sit. Lucky Ndlepu wat baie goed doen daar.
Michael Abrams with some good footwork. He breaks out, looking to find some support on the inside. Abrams goes to ground and places the ball. DF Malan contesting, but I think SACS have that. Goes out to Hayes, who comes back the other way. Strikes the ball very nicely off that left boot of his towards the left-hand touchline. But
Meinhard wat nou 'n teenaanval wil begin vir DF Malan. Meinhard het die nodige ondersteuning. Ja, hy het wel en van wat nou wag, maar hulle gaan nou met die voorspelers bietjie speel. Van wat wag. Hy gee uit na die groot frame daar van De Villiers in die middelveld. Van wat DF Malan wat nou goed doen om 'n paar fases aan mekaar te sit en uit na die vleuel in die oorkant van die veld, maar baie goed verdedig daar deur SACS.
SACS away there with Chad van der Loo, the number 12. He thrusts forward on the touchline and places the ball. Have DF Malan rolled away from that breakdown. The referees ruled that there's holding on at that breakdown. Again, SACS too slow to react to the turnover, which will frustrate them. A good turnover, van der Loo bursting clear, but similar scenes to what we saw 2 days ago. The reaction time of the support players wasn't quite there, and a turnover penalty awarded to DF Malan.
Yeah, I think we just jinxed them, but maybe he ran out of support there. It was against the runner play, ripped out well, and SACS looking very dangerous. DF Malan running out of ideas at the moment.
Very important that Van der Loo there, who was away on the touchline, either double rolls or maybe even pushes the ball back away from his body just to get by the cleaners, just that little bit of extra time to get there.
DF Malan wat baie goed doen daar in die lyn staan van wat nou wag. Wat hulle gaan eintlik skoppie daar deur die loskakel, maar hy bietjie laat geloop. Ek is seker wie die skuldige is, dit Laken. Ek is nie seker wie die skuldige is daar nie. Hy lyk he's looking guilty, but maybe not him.
A little bit of ill discipline there, SACS. I mean, they have these situations well under control, so unnecessary then to go and barge into the 10 of DF Malan and give away a penalty, allowing the opposition deep into your half to set up a set piece.
Jonathan Witboy wat goed doen daar met die linkervoet en veld verskuif tot net tussen die 10 tree en die kwartgebied van SACS. Aanvallende lyn staan nou vir DF Malan. Baie moeilik as jy met 26 punte teenoor 0 agterloop in die eerste 20 minute. Maar kom ons kyk wat hulle kan doen. Dis nou Miller wat voer en hy wil sy springers Viljoen en Louisi vind. Hy gaan agter in die lyn staan. Baie goeie lyn staan daar deur DF Malan, maar daarvan af lyk hulle planloos en die verdediging van SACS baie goed. Die einste Witboy wat nou aanval loods in die agterlyn. SACS probeer die man ophou. Ja, het SACS hom afgevat? Nee, tog nie. Van wat? Van wat? Nou na die groot man in die frame van De Villiers. Van wat? Witboy. Hulle probeer hardloop. Baie goed gedoen daar deur die heel agter Hubert. Van wat wag.
Breakout there by SACS looks like Redlingates on the far side of the field. To Glepu, passes it back to Cameron Lawrenson, the number 4 lock, who moves forward aggressively. Glepu out to Abrams into the fly-off channel and out to Hayes. And a switch play to Geordie Hop. Danger man in the SACS backline, carrying the ball strongly, very difficult to pull him down. Hop carries on going with the support there of Larkin. Glepu on the ball, nice quick ball for SACS, moves into the wider channels. This is Halverson, this is danger for DF Malan. Unfortunately, Tom Robinson there in the wide channel, unable to hang on there. Some really aggressive tackling by SACS. Henny setting up these turnover opportunities, some good double hits and moving the big boys of DF Malan backwards.
Yeah, I can see they're committing 2 guys to the tackle. They're keeping them up, and then the support play from the flankers. I mean, I like the look of that Harvison and Robinson. They're playing fantastically well. But that number 13, Geordie Hop, what an impressive player. He stays on his feet and he gives the support runners so much time to get to him. A fantastic play. Great scrum there by SACS. DF Malan nou onder druk in alle fasette van hierdie wedstryd. Baie moeilik as jy met 26 punte teenoor 0 agterloop en slegs 20 minute verstreek. Jy het nog 15 minute om te gaan. Hulle sal, I'm glad I'm not the captain of DF Malan at the moment because I'm not sure. But the first thing they should do is try and get into the SACS half. The likes of Witboy, their fly-off, should try and get them there. DF Malan van wat nou voer. You see, that's the one rule in schoolboy rugby that I don't like. We spoke about it last week. But a back chat.
Scrum penalty awarded to DF Malan. SACS guilty of scrumming upwards according to the ref. And then a bit of back chat as well, which is very, very unnecessary and something that happened against Maritzburg College, which you wouldn't expect from a team like SACS. Abrams makes an awful mistake at the back there and probably lucky not to give away a penalty there. I thought he knocked that on. The ball was then played by Redlinghuis on the far side in front of Abrams. Should have been a penalty maybe to DF Malan.
Well spotted there, Nick. I saw that and something in my brain said to me that should be a penalty, but I couldn't verbalize it. Well done for spotting that. But DF Malan now in an attacking position. Let's see, DF Malan moet nou iets probeer. Ek sal graag wil sien dat hulle agste man Andrico Fourie wat my oog gevang het tot dusver dalk daai bal kan optel en van sy flanke by name Moller en Thompson in spel bring. DF Malan wat baie moeilik deur die verdediging van SACS gaan kom in hierdie agterlyn. Hulle sal eers voor iets moet doen om vinnige tweede fase bal te wen van wat nou gaan voer. Skram weer onder druk, Witboy wat daar in niemands land die bal gooi nie. En SACS wat nou verdedig, van wat toch wag. Maar look at the SACS defense, Nick, they're just well organized, they're waiting for it.
Some fairly predictable attack there from DF Malan, allowing the SACS defenders to pick off their one-off runners.
They should try a box kick or something. I'm looking for something from the scrum half. You can't play touch rugby against SACS. They're going to penalize you at some point. But nevertheless, they're putting passes together. DF Malan, that is. Van wat weer wag. Witboy, baie staties, die bal in die agterlyn en hy gooi agter.
Jordy Hop secures the turnover there for SACS. David Hayes there to clean. Lucky Glepu on the ball. He gives it to Statler. Great pass by the hooker there to Halverson. Big space out wide here. Halverson, will he use his support? Will he have to? The big number 8 maybe should have let that one go, but he's gone to ground. SACS have picked it up on the blind side. They've kept it alive, unfortunately, again, forcing the pass, resulting in the ball being knocked on. DF Malan now have it.
DF Malan wat nou herwin, dit is hulle agste man Fourie wat vorentoe dryf.
I just think Henny SACS there with acres of space down the right side. It was probably just an easy pass for Halverson to make early, which would have resulted in a try. Not the correct option. It's also a little bit about showing a little bit of composure and just patience there. You know, one breakdown, you probably score for the next phase. So SACS guilty there of maybe overcomplicating something fairly simple.
Yeah, that's definitely a 5-pointer that went astray there by Halverson, not taking his support runners on the outside.
Free kick awarded to SACS there at that scrum. Larkin looking to take it quickly, but the refs pulled him back to the mark. James Brewer now having a conversation with Larkin. They've ended up deciding that they're going to go for a scrum. Certainly a set piece that SACS is very confident in. Their scrumming's improved over the years. A big pack, SACS pack, nearly 800 kilograms, and they'll be looking to exert some dominance. Look for Jordy Hop to come back on a switch with David Hayes of this right-hand scrum. Very effective, yet simple yet effective play. Jordy Hop, a very dangerous runner. Lucky Glepu goes quickly now. Moves quickly. Can he offload? He's flicked it out the back of the hand. Here's Halverson now. Can he place the ball effectively? He does. Glepu gives it out to Larkin. Larkin running sideways, but still using his strength to get over the gain line. Glepu holding at that breakdown. A little bit loose by SACS, but here goes Duncan Ferguson. He's strongly tackled. Glepu goes to the right-hand side. Should be an easy run in here, and it is for Nick Redlinghase in the number 22 jersey, who dots the ball down easy as you like in the right-hand corner, and SACS move into the 30s.
Yeah, it's always difficult these games, Nick. If you lead by this margin, it's difficult to keep your structures. But I think what SACS should be doing now is they should look at their season, maybe look to try a couple of things. This is the time to do it. This is a fantastic a match to try things in. And the coaches, maybe a couple of replacements. I don't know but they look the complete unit. I like the look of them. Even on Saturday when they were under pressure against Maritzburg, I think they trailed by something like 10 or 12 points in the early stages of the match. They kept their composure, and in the end they won quite comfortably.
SACS with Bishops on the horizon on Saturday, followed by Rondebosch, both at home, will be looking to use the rest of the first half and the second half as a bit of a training exercise, I would think, without being disrespectful to DF Malan. The danger of these games, Henny, when you run into a big lead early, is for the game to degenerate into a sort of loose basketball type style, which wouldn't be something that would benefit SACS in terms of their build-up towards Bishops. So hopefully the boys will heed the coach's words and just play a little bit of structured stuff in the build-ups and then finish when they have the opportunities.
I think exactly what happened with Harvison down the opposite touch a couple of minutes ago, where when you have this lead, it's difficult to keep your composure and structure. Anyway, DF restarting.
Brewer drops the kickoff, but Statler recovers. Strong hooker, bursts forward. Klepu out to Hayes with Larkin, the dangerous, strong running Larkin on the ball, fending off people straight through the middle. Ineffectual tackling there by DF Malan. They won't be happy with that. Larkin, the primary ball carrier for SACS, and someone who would think that they would be marking closely, just being allowed to bulldoze his way through some very weak tackling, it must be said. Henny.
Nick, did he play hooker on Saturday? Or?
Yes, he's looking to be a hooker in the sort of Western Province setup. SACS have another effective hooker in Statler, and they've used him most of last season and this year as a flank. So, whichever position he plays in, he's considered to be quite a loose player in terms of getting out there wide channels with his ball carrying. He carries the ball a lot, and whichever position he plays, hooker or flank, he's generally going to be out there freeing himself up to do some damage with ball in hand.
Oh, fantastic player. I like the look of him. I actually confused him before you joined. I thought it was the hooker that was Larkin. And impressive to see him now moving to the side of the scrum. And that's his second try. And both his tries were in a similar fashion. I mean, he had breakaway tries like a speed train. I mean, he's just a fantastic player. Nice to look at a big fellow run like that.
I'm sure he has ambitions of making the Cravenweek side this year, and it's all about what you do against the big opposition. I think if you're going to earn selection, with all due respect to DF Malan, when you come up against the Paul Roosers and Boys Highs of the world, that's when you've really got to shine, and that Larkin going to be looking to do that for SACS in the coming weeks. Brewer now jumps and takes that one. SACS looking to secure this one without a turnover. Larkin again carrying the ball to the wider channels. This time they've brought him down just. Klepu passes it early to Hayes. Hayes out to Abrams on a little drift. Lovely play by the fullback, who makes a very good option of kicking ahead. A bounce ball. Oh, DF Malan make a bit of a hash of that, and Redlinghase is on the ball. And the ref ruling that the ball has been lost into touch with SACS to feed. Or has the touch judge has put his flag up in the other direction, so it'll be DF Malan to feed a very dangerous line out, just probably 5 meters from their own line.
Nick, what is the rule in stopping matches? Is it what in schoolboy rugby? Is it? I've seen quite a few matches, I think, over 50 points that they tend to stop. Is it?
I don't think there's a rule per se. I think there's usually a gentleman's agreement when sides are outmatched. I know they do it when Grey College play some of their opponents up north.
That's
when
correct.
The scores reach 50, they stop the game, which often still happens in the first half when Grey College are playing. So I don't think in this festival environment here, I don't think there would have been a concession by the DF Malan coaches before the game to say, please show mercy. So you would expect this game to go to the full duration.
Yeah, it's Ek voel jammer vir DF Malan. Ek weet nie eintlik wat hulle moet doen nie. In die aard van die saak, die eerste ding wat hulle probeer doen is om in SACS se helfte te kom. Hulle het die wind op die oomblik van agter, so hulle het al die voordeel wat na hulle kant toe gaan kom. Maar ongelukkig SACS, hulle lyk net they looked a complete article. I mean, they play well with their forwards. Those big loosies of them, they're playing so well, and they get the big guys, the runners at the back, the likes of Geordie, Hop in space, and DF Malan. They're just scrambling in defence at the moment, just trying to keep the scoreboard down.
SACS turn that one over effectively. Klepu makes a run up the far side touchline. Out to Redlinghurst, who comes into first receiver. Larkin again, who steps but loses his footing. A little bit slippery underfoot after some overnight rain, but he's
still going.
He's kept going. And who would want to be the fullback?
Oh no!
Liam Larkin surging down upon you. I think DF Malan now, they're in big trouble. Henny, their only chance really is to tackle a guy like Larkin early. They have to send someone up quickly and tackle him low around the ankles. If they're going to continue to rush up and go high on him, he's going to bump you off. And as we see there, you know, he was held, he got free, he just simply ran around and through, and then the final tackle by the fullback completely ineffective. So a pretty soft try.
Yeah, I think the best thing that can happen to DF Malan at the moment is if the referee gives a couple of complimentary yellow cards just to SACS, just to make the playing field a bit more even, especially to Larkin. I mean, his third try already, and it's such individualistic tries. I mean, I think he's run the length of the field for his 3 tries altogether, and what a great player.
I think probably a few red cards as well, Henny.
Yeah, maybe 2 reds and 2 yellows, and then we have a match.
Geordie Hop now to convert from the right hand from the corner. Strikes the ball quite well. Keeps his head down. His body language as he kicked it suggested that that wasn't going over, which proved to be correct. The ref has mercifully blown the first half to a close, slightly short. I wonder if he maybe got a little bit of nod from the touch judge to say let's stop this now. SACS now meeting up with their coach. Will be chatting about that first half, but also essential now that they don't get too loose and they keep their composure and their structure so they can get something out of this pre-Bishops.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, well, Bishops looked a completely different side today against Jeppe. They did look very different than Saturday. Their basics were pretty good, but in the end, their discipline cost them, and they're also a bit too risky. Maybe I can't see them standing up to SACS, especially not at home. So I would suggest they put their reserves on SACS, give them a run. I saw Larkin now touching his shoulder or something. Maybe he should have a rest. He's already got three tries. What more do you want out of a game? And I feel for DF Malan. I mean, poor guys. What if you were the coach, Nick? Any wise words?
I think the only words you can give your players is to simply man up and tackle the primary ball carriers for SACS. I mean, it's not rocket science that Larkin is a major ball carrier for SACS. 2 guys need to get up and be brave and simply go and tackle low and hard and effectively. SACS may try and rush a few passes and make a few errors, but if you're going to stand back and not commit yourself and not take those guys down early, then you're going to be in for a cricket score. Just from a SACS point of view, they, as we've mentioned already, they are playing against Bishops on Saturday. These derbies, it doesn't really matter who the favourite is. Anything can happen on the day. I think it's always best and mindful to be as humble as possible and not to expect anything, but to earn everything. And Bishops showed today against a Jeppe side that many people thought would run away with it, that they were competitive, and I think Jeppe only pulling away to that score of 40 points later in the second half. So that Bishops will take a lot of confidence from that, and they've got a lot of players back from injury, I believe. So they'll be looking to come hard at SACS on Saturday, the 7th of May.
Yeah, I've been lucky to see 3 games of Bishops this season and also 3 of SACS, and I have to say, I think you're being modest there, Nick. If the SACS team turns up and they play the rugby that they can play, and even though Bishops do the same, I just think they'll be too strong. They've got game breakers in the likes of Larkin, that Geordie Hop. I mean, Lucky and Lepu, that little scrum half, he's got the vision for this game. He's been impressive. The whole pack, that 8-man, what did you say? He's the size of Dwayne Vermeulen, or?
Yeah, he's allegedly 104 kilograms. I don't know if the boys maybe add a couple of kilograms to the sheet before it gets put on the program. Nevertheless, he's a very, very large schoolboy. He's very athletic as well. I think he runs just under 12 seconds for the 100 meters as well. Very strong, and actually also has some decent skills. Plays a lot of touch rugby in a touch rugby league. So he's in terms of his physical ability. I mean, there can't be many schoolboys in the Western Cape, or certainly in the Western Cape, or even nationally, that can match up to his statistics from a physical point of view.
Yeah, I've seen that 8-man of Paul Jim. He's also, I think he's grade 11, but he's also apparently 110 kgs, and I don't know, he definitely doesn't have the speed that I've seen from Harvison. But also a big unit.
I commentated on that game against Paul Gymnasium just over a week ago, and the number 8 that you're talking about is a guy called Miller Ace. He's a huge man. He's built a little bit more like a prop forward than a sort of lanky Halverson, who's tall as well, and he's carrying very little weight. Miller Ace is more of a large style battering ram. Very effective in close quarters, extremely strong, and I believe 110 kilograms, but possibly maybe suited to a role of a blindside flank, or even maybe for the rest of his career, maybe moving into the front row.
Yes, and then Nick, we've got the Wilderklave tournament up in Kimberley at the moment. I believe Waterkloof is leading Boland Landbou there, 12 points to 3. And then the big game at 4 o'clock, Paul Boys against Affies. Paul Boys 28 games now, unbeaten. Affies, I think most of the logs I've seen, they rate them as the number 1 team currently in the country. So your thoughts on that game?
I think that's without a doubt the big game of the season so far. Affies, I believe, have a really, really strong side this year. Boys High, as you say, unbeaten in 28 games. They've got the winning culture. They've got some great players. They play a style of rugby that's very difficult to coach against. They certainly aren't one-dimensional. It's going to be a hell of a match. I think if I was a betting man, I believe that Affies' power could maybe make them sort of slight favourites. But as I say, Boys Eye has got the winning culture, and they're certainly not going to give up their unbeaten run easily. And I just think it's going to be a wonderful occasion and a great schoolboy rugby match.
Yes, and we're back here from Wynberg, where we celebrate the 175th birthday of Wynberg. And we're watching this match between SACS and DF Malan. SACS being the oldest school in the country, I believe close to 190 years old. So what a great occasion. I mean, it's a festive atmosphere. There's music. The fires are burning. Hot dogs sold by the dozen. And unfortunately, a bit of a one-sided affair. But then again, I say that, but we see some great talent in this SACS team. Watch out for the likes of Geordie Hop, the number 13 centre. Nick, you said he's all the way from Holland, is he?
Yes, yeah, he came to us as an under-16 from the Netherlands. He's only in grade 11. He's also the team's place kicker, so he's got a bright future. If I was Robbie Fleck, I'd be keeping a close eye on someone like that. Could easily be snapped up from Western Province's clutches if they're not careful. I really believe he is a talent and someone to watch out for the future.
Yeah, what a great player. SACS restarting now. En DF Malan wat nou alles gaan probeer om 'n paar planne te maak in hierdie tweede helfte. Ek het gesien die afrigters het hard gepraat daar met die manne. Ongelukkig dink ek net die SACS span is net in alle fasette op hierdie stadium. Hulle meerdere SACS baie goed georganiseer in verdediging. Daai skop is net 'n nowhere kick, and SACS now looking to attack.
Malan very, very telegraphed with their attacking play, making it very easy for SACS to put in dominant tackles and then kicking the ball away. And now it's Statler who moves into the middle of the field, carrying strongly. Klepu plays it out to Hayes, who passes inside to Hop. There he is again. Very seldom doesn't get over the gain line, Geordie Hop. DF Malan lying all over that one. The referee rules that he doesn't have a problem with that though. Brewer lining up now to carry. He tips on the pass to Statler again, who looks full of running. SACS cleaning up well there. Lucky Glepu plays left, out to Abrams there. Geordie Hop down to the wing there. Ravenscroft in, showing a bit of speed out wide. Wide breakdown now. SACS looking to show some patience here. Glepu, Statler once again goes for the line. Is he short? He's just pulled short. Glepu now digging for the ball. SACS lining up here. Players hungry for the try line. That's Connor O'Reilly, the number 1, going for the try line. Glepu now to Hayes. Another inside pass, easy as you like. Michael Abrams running an inside line off David Hayes and scoring right between the uprights. It was just a matter of time there. I thought Henny, the DF Malan boys, were defending heroically, it must be said there. They were certainly not bailing out of tackles, and it was just a bit of a war of attrition. It was just simply going to happen that SACS was going to burst through eventually if they just managed to retain the ball at the breakdown.
But compliments to SACS. They're keeping their structures. They're not getting loose at the moment, and that's always difficult to do with this type of scoreline. So hats off to them. They worked it. They first worked the turnover. Poor kick from DF Malan trying to find touch, but then they gathered that, and from there they took it through the phases. Geordie Hop setting up play in the midfield, and in the end quite an easy try, and that's the 50 points now on the board for SACS.
Just an absolutely amazing setting here at Wynberg. In fact, all the southern suburb schools, SACS, Bishops, Rondebosch and Wynberg have the unbelievable first team rugby fields with a backdrop of the mountain. Truly special to go to these schools and to be able to play rugby in this environment. And I know the fans are certainly enjoying it. They're here by the thousand, enjoying festival rugby at its best.
Yeah, great atmosphere, and DF Malan now restarted. Knock on from SACS there.
The coaching staff will not be happy with the restart. Well, certainly the kick-off receipt work of their charges, something that's been a problem for a couple of years now. SACS there making a hash of that kick-off. Very important there. Once you take that, once you've scored points, to take that kick-off cleanly. Get the ball back in the pocket, either run it if that's your strategy, or to kick the ball back into the opposition's half. But to concede a scrum straight after scoring points is a criminal offence in my view.
Exactly, and especially if you play against quality opposition, then that is a pretty good attacking position. DF Malan van der Walt now. And as a biggie.
Good strong tackle by Chad van der Loo, who secures the turnover. The referee has ruled that there was a knock on there in the tackle, giving SACS a scrum just inside their own half. I would have thought from this position, being with this significant lead of 52 points to 0, that SACS will be looking to run this one. Chad van der Loo, although in the number 12 jersey, has put himself onto the right wing here. So there's a potential 8-9 on the blind side. Lucky Glepu scoring a great try against Maritzburg College of a similar move. There's also the option, of course, of playing to the left-hand side, where they've got the likes of Geordie Hop out there. Let's see what SACS do. Halverson plays the 8-9. Glepu down the right. Chips ahead, not a bad option. Can he make the tackle? Van der Loo reacts quickly to that ball that was bouncing around, and SACS have that. DF Malan fighting hard now at the breakdown. Glepu out to James Brewer, the captain. He runs slightly sideways and is well tackled by DF Malan. Ball goes out the back to Hayes. He plays out to Redlinghase. Redlinghase with a little stop and go there. A nice little piece of play there by Redlinghase. Geordie Hop offloads. They're out the left there to Abrams, who gives it unselfishly to Ravenscroft, who jogs the ball in under the sticks. Some lovely play there by SACS. Lovely sleight of hand. I thought Nick Redlinghase's little stop and go there really set that try up. It showed he's very quick off the mark. And also Michael Abrams there, unselfishly, probably could have scored himself, passed the ball to his mate. Shows that that the boys are playing for each other, and there's a good lot of morale and a lot of team spirit within the SACS unit.
Yeah, and don't forget, Nick, that all started with this little 8-9 move just in front of us. You called it rightfully so, with the inside centre standing on the wing, and then Lucky Glepu with that kick through, which they managed to gather back. And then they put it through the phases. I mean, again, I can't compliment them enough for keeping their structure in, and they're leading already by almost 60 points. And it's beautiful plays. The best I've seen this whole festival thus far. I must admit, the Jeppy first half on Saturday impressed me very much. But so far, what I've seen from SACS, great play. And then Geordie Hop adding the 3 points, and I think that's now 60 points on the board.
Hop there with his umpteenth conversion. SACS now will be looking to catch this kickoff, something they've been weak at this festival, and actually indeed throughout the season. Very important they get this right when they start coming up against the big dogs. That hasn't gone 10 meters. DF Malan have played it, and that'll be a scrum on the halfway line to SACS. Very dangerous position now. You simply can't afford to make an error like that when you 50 odd to 60 points down. You've got to make sure your kickoff goes 10. You do not want to give a team like SACS a midfield scrum with their fairly dynamic backline players looking to run at you again.
Yeah, maybe in hindsight a bit of a mismatch this fixture, and maybe something the organisers can have a look at. I feel for DF Malan. I mean, it's part of a festival, and you don't want to see something like this. The poor guys are being the punch bags at the moment. Good scrum from them.
Glepu feeds to Halverson. They've done a little move out the back here. Some enterprising stuff there again by SACS. Redlinghuis places the ball. Glepu's at the breakdown. Brewer, lovely little tip-on pass there to Statler in space. He hasn't got any support whatsoever, and there could be a turnover here. But Glepu's on the ball nicely. He changes direction. A little bit of indecision there by the scrum half. Maybe no communication happening on his outside. Little pick and drive there. Ball placement's good this time. Glepu organising now. Slow ball. Halverson now with a bit of footwork. Can he place the ball effectively? DF Malan isolated there. Halverson. You could almost see that coming, Henny. Once you go on your own and get isolated there, even the likes of DF Malan are going to be able to get in on that ball and turn you over.
Yeah, for a big lad like him, he should have tried to stay on his feet to wait for the supporters. But maybe that's one positive for DF Malan in this half so far. They got a turnover, and now they have an attacking line out.
I think, Henny, a real positive for DF Malan going forward is their under-16A team. I was very impressed by the players that they had and the commitment. SACS coming away with a 2012 victory, but it certainly wasn't easy.
Goeie lyn staan daar van DF Malan, maar ongelukkig verloor SACS wat nou vinnig wil ingooi.
Glepu now passes it out to Zederberg, who's now come onto the field. This is Halverson, lets the ball go early. Redlinghuis, some good hands. Abrams shows on the inside and then gives to the outside. Ravenscroft full of running down the left-hand touchline. He's held up but manages to get to ground. Glepu on the ball now to Hayes. Bounce ball, not a good pass by Glepu, and forces the turnover there off the ground. Not a good pass. Lucky Glepu's played well in these two games. His service has been pretty immaculate, so I guess he could be forgiven for a bad one there.
Is he grade 11 player or?
Yes, he's in grade 11. In fact, if you look at the SACS back line that started against Maritzburg College, there were six out of the 7 backs were in grade 11. And the blindside flank, Tom Robinson, was also in grade 11. So some exciting players for next season, and it'll be a matter of whether the guys in the second team and the under-16s can step into the forward pack and do the job. As we all know, rugby games are one up front, and the backs will tell you about how many.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely this SACS team is a team that I will keep my eye on for the rest of this season. I like the look of them, and they look a well-coached team. I like their structure, and especially in this environment, they're not falling apart. Great shove there from them. DF Malan wat nou probeer slaan met hulle heel agter daar Hubert van 'n wat. Ek dink dis die plaasvervanger skramskakel en 'n baie goeie step. Dis die 8ste man, ek dink is Fourie. Fourie wat dadelik weer op sy voete kom. En DF Malan wat nou 'n bietjie innovering wys.
That was a very poor tackle there by Zederberg. There was no need for him to go high there. He was coming across. He could have put in a really big hit. He's been given a yellow card. Maybe fortunately he's just come onto the field. I don't think that was very clever at all. Just something as well, Henny, to consider for SACS. They've had very few injury problems so far this year. They've been able to pick the same team week in, week out, and important for them to get out of this game. One doesn't want to pick up an injury now with the lead up running into Bishops and Rondebosch, and I think the coaches will just be very relieved if we get through this game now with no injuries.
Yeah, maybe a time to give the reserves a run up as well. But maybe a good thing. A high tackle is never a good thing. But at least we now 14 against 15. Maybe DF Malan can do something with it. Something fancy they're doing there in that line out. Scrum half waiting for it. Dan uit na Witboy. Wat kyk of hy sy agterlyn kan wegstuur. But the SACS defense is just well organized. They and I don't think DF Malan is doing enough. They should maybe try a grubber kick. They should try something. They're very lateral, just putting passes together, but not really moving forward.
I think in the lead up to this, that last passage, there was some ineffectual tackling by SACS in the midfield, which actually allowed DF Malan to get out of their half. A rare moment to get out of their half. It's also a danger when you're up on the scoreboard like this, is to kind of relax and not put your body on the line defensively, and that allows for hand grabs and for the opposition to beat you one-on-one and to make you look a little bit silly. So something SACS need to be wary of as well. Glepu now feeds to the scrum. Great scrum by DF Malan out of absolutely nowhere. They've scrummed SACS off the ball. Referees playing advantage.
Witboy wat nou binne toe breek, wag vir sy voorspelers om by te kom. En dis hier waar hulle vir my net nie genoeg planne het nie. En ook baie bal verloor. Tog die skeieregter wat aandui dat hulle 'n strafskop het aan die oorkant van die veld. Vinnige tikskoppie daar. Baie naby aan die doellyn.
I think the referees blown that as held up. SACS scrum for the very first time probably this festival was put under pressure there, and DF Malan, a lot of credit to their forward pack. I think SACS have a brand new tight head on. That's the young grade 11 Josh Hay, who probably just needs to settle in there. He probably just got a little bit of a wake-up call there about what it takes to be scrumming at first team level, but I'm sure he'll make amends now. He's a strong boy and he's got a lot of potential. I'm sure he's going to come through.
Du Plessis wat nou voer daar, Fourie wat hom hou. Nou, SACS is back. Yeah, the wake-up call. They definitely got a wake-up call all of a sudden. They're scrumming like they did before.
Yep, no, the boys wouldn't have liked to have been pushed back there, and they would have had a few stern words with each other, getting a bit lower, getting tighter there, and as Andrew Patterson would call it, giving a vital five nice hard steps there, working together and pushing DF Malan off the ball. DF Malan have retained possession though.
Du Plessis, die plaasvervanger skramskakel wat nou gaan voer. Baie stewiger skram daar vir Rie wat hou agter. Du Plessis uit na Witboy. Witboy wat nou sy ongelukkig.
Abrams kicks it ahead, but the ball finds the right-hand touchline, and SACS will be a little bit disappointed that they didn't just manage to keep that one infield. They've given DF Malan a line out just inside their own half. The game seems to be meandering to a close. Henny, a little bit of edge lost. I think both teams probably know that this well over as a contest. SACS looking to just get through the final stages without an injury, and DF Malan just looking to avoid further humiliation.
Yeah, poor DF Malan. They look planless outside Witboy.
Halverson taps that one back. Tom Robinson's there. DF Malan now scramble the ball through now. Michael Abrams. He hoofs the ball ahead. And there's a kick chase coming from David Hayes on the inside. And here comes Halverson as well. DF Malan, number 22, is back for the ball. Oh, he gives an awful kick off the right side of his boot. SACS, unfortunately, don't catch that. But the referee has ruled that the players were in front of the DF Malan fullback. And SACS now have an opportunity. They tap and go with Redlinghayes, who's still fighting in contact. He goes to ground eventually. David Hayes now at scrum off the fly-off. He just pops the ball. Oh! And easy as you like. Ravenscroft could have just canted in there. He lifted his eyes at the critical moment and bobbled the ball forward. Never nice when that happens. I'm sure we've all experienced something similar in our rugby careers, and Ravenscroft, I'm sure, will learn from that.
Yeah, I know it's always difficult when you have an easy try, when you just have to jot it down. White line fever, and Ravenscroft, he's also been impressive. A quick runner on the left hand side, unfortunately knocked that on. Is it time for SACS now to put in a good scrum? DF Malan wat voer, Du Plessis, plaasvervanger skramskakel, maar ongelukkig deur die 45 en hulle gaan weer met skram. Yeah, Nick, it's most probably the only game that's been this big a mismatch. They've done quite well. Maybe they just ran out of putting strong teams together, or the similar strengths teams together. So yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think DF Malan, as I say, the under-16s were good. The under-14s and 15s were hopelessly outmatched as well. But they're a proud bunch of guys. They're desperate to improve their rugby. They want to play against better opposition. It helps them improve, and we've got a very good relationship with their coaches and their school. And we're always happy to play against them. A hell of a nice bunch of people. And as I say, you're not going to get better unless you play against better opposition. There's no point in playing against weak guys and thinking that you're improving when in actual fact you're not.
Yes, still it's festival rugby, and we've been treated over these last 2 days with some amazing rugby. Great to see the camaraderie between the schools. DF Malan now feeding but losing it. Gathered by, I think it's Fourie, the 8th man. He's been impressive for DF Malan. Now number 18 for DF Malan, Geier. Corney Geier, 'n wit boy, word bal en al gekry daar in die middelveld. Du Plessis, that I like. That's something we haven't seen from DF Malan. Something different. Not just putting passes together. There's a bit of thinking involved there.
There we go. SACS decide to take that one quickly. They move the ball again to Statler. He passes it early to Hop. He's got great footwork. He's beaten his man on the outside. Now in front of the Standard Bank gazebo. Unfortunately, Geordie Hop didn't get in field quick enough, has been pushed into touch. Probably a soft concession there by the big outside centre. One of my pet hates in rugby, Henny, is when players get just tackled into touch and don't come infield early enough or switch off the touchline. Just allows the opposition to have a set piece, and to me, just a waste of possession.
Yeah, here in coaching terms, they speak of the touchline as the 16th defender, and which done quite well there by DF Malan. Du Plessis wat nou wag. Du Plessis uit na Witboy. Witboy wat nou weer baie staties die bal aan die agterlyn afstuur, en SACS wag vir daai. Dis net so voorspelbaar van DF Malan op die oomblik.
SACS there, double tackling very effectively. Statler in the middle of that, fighting aggressively to keep the DF Malan man up. DF Malan probably guilty of not committing a couple of more numbers there to get that player to ground. But this is certainly a technique used by a number of the SACS teams to work in 2s and 3s and to try and choke tackle or hold the opposition attackers up and earn themselves a scrum. Lucky Glepu now to feed the ball, and a nice attacking scrum here for SACS, just inside their own half. They've packed the right side of the field here. We'll see what they can conjure up. David Hayes will be looking to get this ball cleanly into his hands, move it into some space. Another good scrum by SACS. Hayes gives it, oh, lovely line by Michael Abrams. He passes it out to Zederberg, who seems to be back on the field already. Pass it inside. This is lovely stuff by SACS. Michael Abrams finishing off a try. Lovely pass there by Zederberg off the right-hand touchline. A lovely, well-worked move there with the centres drifting and Michael Abrams straightening straight through the gap. Some very effective set piece play there. We don't see enough of that, I believe, at schoolboy rugby. Line breaks and tries straight from the set piece. I get the impression sometimes that South African rugby coaches use the set piece as a launching pad to set up a target, as they call it, and then decide to try and play from there. And I much prefer the mentality of when you get a set piece that you try and score directly from that set piece. If you think about it, the opposition often tied up in the scrum, all their forwards are in there. If you've got a full line out, again, the opposition are tied up there, and allowing guys like Hop and Abrams and the like to run man for man up against their opposite number, for me is a must. We should be looking to score off set piece.
Something that also caught my eye, Nick, is the fact that they run at speed. That's a big difference between DF Malan in terms of the backline play. DF Malan, they're basically at a standstill when they pass the ball, and SACS come from depth, and look at that fullback. He joined that line at speed. Very difficult to defend that, and geez, that's beautiful to watch.
Yes, if you play nice and flat like that and right on the line, it's you can certainly isolate those defenders and force them into stopping for various holding lines, and you generally, if you can make the pass, your man, if you pick the right option, should side through. DF Malan now kick off. SACS under this one. No one's called for it though, and again it's been messed up there at the receipt. I just can't understand why SACS teams can't catch kickoffs.
DF Malan wat nou probeer om aanval te loods. Du Plessis. Lyk 'n bietjie planloos, maar tog, hulle het balbesit. Dis Fourie, hulle agste man wat my oog gevang het, maar hy word teruggedryf deur die SACS, en nou sit Jordy Hop.
Jordy Hop in a foot race now. He's hacked the ball ahead. He just needs to stay on his feet now and avoid going to ground. He does brilliantly, flicks the ball between his legs. Nishan Naidu is on the field, but Zederberg knocks the ball on there. Probably should have just left that one there. Didn't need to go and lean for it. Knock that one on. Maybe SACS there guilty of forcing the pass. They just needed to hang on to that and just play some really simple stuff, and they would have scored yet another try. Jordy Hop did well there. I've seen guys go straight to ground onto that ball there, giving away a penalty. He stayed on his feet and then had the presence of mind to flick the ball back between his legs straight to another SACS player. So some good play there by Jordy Hop.
What is also impressive from SACS is what they do when they don't have the ball. They keep on attacking in defense. I mean, they drove DF Malan off the ball, and that's how Jordy Hop got that kick through. Now Witboy, wat nou, dit lyk beroerd, die skoppe agter van DF Malan. Ek dink hulle moet die skoppe liewers los.
Yeah, that was an awful kick by DF Malan. SACS make a mess of it themselves.
Poor Ravenscroft, he just can't get that try.
Yeah, it's becoming quite messy now. DF Malan with an awful kick there. SACS turning it over at the breakdown. It was going to just be a simple set of hands down the left-hand side for a try, but we've unfortunately SACS squandered that opportunity. Just going back to what you were saying, Henny, about the defence, Lance Statler there, the hooker, very, very physical there, driving his man back, strong boy. That's the kind of defence SACS are going to have to bring when they come up against Bishops and Rondebosch in the coming weeks. There's going to have to be that mentality to really fight in contact and work your opposite number backwards, and I think SACS have done that quite well today.
Yeah, they've been impressive. Maybe two areas to work on is obviously the kickoffs. You pointed out the kickoffs of SACS look pretty messy at the moment, and then maybe still the loose ball. But what I like, what I've seen is they drive guys, and maybe that change in moving Larkin to the flank and that new hooker, maybe that worked out well for them. DF Malan wat nou probeer wegkom, maar nee.
Almost a tight head there by SACS, but the referee has ruled that there was something wrong with that. I couldn't quite see from here, Henny. The penalty's been awarded to DF Malan.
I think he showed hands in the scrum, which is the big guys up front. They try and bend the rules as much as possible. So Witboy, dit is DF Malan, deel van hulle probleem is dat hulle nie 'n groot genoeg voet het wat hulle uit hulle helfte kan kry nie. Witboy wat sy bes doen, hy weet ook bietjie hinke pink stap al. Loskakel wat die hele dag moet verdedig, is ook nie 'n gelukkige loskakel nie. Lyn staan gewen daar, nou gewag deur Du Plessis. Du Plessis skoppie.
Fairly decent kick. Abrams moves the ball quickly. This is nice by SACS. Now it's Ravenscroft with some good footwork. He keeps the ball alive. But SACS now getting a bit loose now.
Just Malan het hom gewen. Du Plessis strafskop voordeel wat die skeieregter toegeken het. Dis nou die groot man daar, De Villiers, Roan De Villiers, waar hulle gaan terugkom vir die strafskop.
This often happens when games get into these score lines into the 60s. The game gets incredibly loose. SACS forcing passes now. They just need to tighten up a little bit. Just need to maybe take the ball in and set up a few phases. And I'm confident once you go through the phases, the dam wall will break and SACS will be able to cash in.
Yeah, there's about 10 minutes left in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if they stop it early. I can see Maritzburg College already lining up. That's the next game. Maritzburg College against Wynberg. It should be a good one. DF Malan wat nou voer. Kan hulle iets nou miskien dan net die 0 van die telbord afkry? Du Plessis wat wag. Du Plessis, Witboy, Tuise. Bal gaan verlore. Ravenscroft easily defending that. Toch kry hulle die bal terug. DF Malan wat nou in die middelveld probeer slaan. Dis die Roan Koen. En dan nou die groot man De Villiers, Roan De Villiers in die middelveld. Bal is nou los. Bietjie van 'n gechommel daar. Toch DF Malan wat hom terugkry. Witboy besluit kom ons skop liewer die bal.
It's Zederberg who receives that kick and sets off down the middle of the field. What can Zederberg do here? Aggressively carrying the ball into contact, bumps his opposite number to ground. SACS caught in possession at that breakdown. They just need to, they've got numbers here outright. They just need to move the ball. They're quite flat though. Difficult to get a pass away to the outside if you're that flat. Redling is asking for the ball on the right, but Hayes goes left. Jordy Hoppert now on the ball. Can he get his pass away? He keeps it. SACS set up a ruck on the left-hand side of the field. The ball goes out now to Statler, Cameron Lawrenson, the big number 4, thrust forward. DF Malan quickly on that ball. And the ball gets played out there. Looks like Statler lost his scrum cap. No, he hasn't. That's somebody else. Hard to tell from here against the sun at SACS. That looks like Nick Thompson now on the field. A little scrum off there. He's taken over from Lucky Glepu. And SACS being bundled into touch on the far touchline. Not the best attack there by SACS. A little bit disorganized, but I think once you ring the changes, and there are a couple of guys here you normally play in the third side, playing for the first team, probably their first cap. It's difficult to expect them just to settle straight into the structure of the first team and pick the right option every time.
Niks, as we're going into the closing stages of this match, ons kyk net wat Witboy nou maak. Tuise. DF Malan wat ook nou redelik planloos vorentoe skop.
Zederberg receives the ball. It's hard to tell what's going on behind the Standard Bank gazebo. SACS now receive it through Statler. He places the ball. Thompson now comes towards the breakdown. He's going to look to try and speed this up a bit. Nishan Naidu tips the ball onto Josh Hay, who's heavily tackled by his opposite tight head. Thompson out, the DF Malan man, number 7 there from the side. The referee hasn't seen it. And SACS going to look to try and retain possession. They've been turned over though. Good work by DF Malan.
Mooi DF Malan wat hy bal terugwen. Maar that's what I was talking about. What do they do when they don't have the ball? SACS, well, shoved off the ball, giving DF Malan some ugly possession. DF Malan wat nou wag. En die bal wat nou net weer deur die hande gaan. SACS se verdediging wat baie goed georganiseer is. Dis daai groot Roan De Villiers, groot voorhyman van DF Malan. DF Malan wat nou wag en het probeer onder die voorspelers hou. Witboy. En dit is nou nommer 21, Lawrence! Wat dan die eerste punte aanteken vir DF Malan. En die feesvieringe onder die spelers Yeah, I mean, that's good to see. At least they did. They never gave up. They tried, and in the end, they counter-rucked that ball and put it through their hands. Well played.
Yeah, great to see DF Malan not giving up and fighting to the death here and being rewarded with a good try. SACS won't be happy with that concession. I think they pride themselves on their defence. They won't be happy with that at all. But as I say, there are a lot of youngsters now on the field, a lot of second and third team guys who've been given an opportunity to run onto the field here at this festival, which is fantastic for them to be given a little bit of a taste of rugby at this level and to play on this magnificent field here at the Hawthornden in front of a nice large crowd at a festival. I think those experiences are always to be cherished for these young guys and can often be a wonderful source of inspiration for them for next year. They get their first taste of rugby at first team level, makes them work that little bit harder in the pre-season to try and earn their jersey for next year.
As we reach the final 4 or 5 minutes of this match, Nick, if you have to choose a man of the match, let's choose a forward and a back to make it easier.
I've been quite impressed with Lance Statler, the hooker for SACS. He's in the distinctive light blue scrum cap. He's really carried the ball strongly. He's got involved there defensively, and he's worked very hard in terms of choke tackling. He's a real competitor. He's a handful at the breakdown. I think he's been on the sidelines with an injury for a while, and I really think he's putting his hands up to get the jersey for Bishop. So I would say from a forward point of view, Lance Statler. I think from a backline point of view, I think it's been quite a loose game, so everyone's had a turn in terms of running with the ball. I think Michael Abrams has scored quite a few tries at fullback, and he's side through once or twice, so he's been effective. Geordie Hop's always solid. David Hayes has been a good marshal at 10, so it'd be difficult to pick one player in the backs, but I think they've gone all right there in the backline. I think the coaches will be quite pleased. David Hayes now passes the ball to Geordie Hop, just pumps his
there's my man of the match from a back's point of view, just because all the options that he gives to the runners around him, he looks the complete package. Geordie Hop from a backline point of view, and then to me, that number 7 flanker Larkin. I mean, he played hooker on Saturday, moved to the side of the scrum today, and he just looked right at home.
Yes, Larkin. Doesn't matter where you put him in the team sheet, he'll be a man who's willing to get his hands on the ball and carry the ball. Very, very strong. I've said before, his nickname is the Rhino, and the chants that go up for him when we're playing at home against Bishops on Saturday, I'm sure will be vociferous. The younger boys in the school obviously look up to a guy like that who puts in the big hits and carries the ball strongly. So it becomes a bit of a cult hero. And I think with a name like Rhino, you can only expect one thing when he gets his hand on the ball.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't become endangered, we would like to see a lot more of Larkin in the future, and he's one to watch. That boy is now limping, looking to start what is the last minute of this match.
SACS will be desperate to catch this kickoff, something they haven't done much of. This good kickoff by Witboy, and the DF Malan man actually got there first to win that ball. The touch judge has ruled, I think, that he's got his flag up there as he ruled a knock-on. He's ruled a knock-on there off the right wing of DF Malan, so SACS will feed that ball. But once again, no one really calling for that, no one really taking ownership at the kickoff and jumping for that and taking it. It was just sort of allowing the opposition an opportunity to actually catch that on the run, which will be disappointing. Nick Thompson now to feed the scrum on the left-hand touchline. SACS with about 30 seconds to go of regulation time. I'm sure we'll be looking to try and run this one, see if they can get one last try. Great scrum by SACS. Hayes gives a lovely little ball there to Nick Redlinghayes. He's got Geordie Hop on his inside, but floats one to the outside. Zederberg now, he's got decent footwork. Gets well tackled there. Doesn't need a crawl, just needs to show some discipline and place the ball. Nick Thompson now dragged into that breakdown. DF Malan desperately fighting. They don't want another try. They do not want to go to 80. Brewer now tries to get his hands through contact. Strong carry there by the captain. He places the ball. Thompson's there. Off to Hayes, passes a lovely little ball out, and a great pass there by Redlinghayes out to Michael Ravenscroft. SACS looking just to keep this ball now. The dam wall will break if they just carry on. A great tackle there on Lance Statler. A pass goes out now. Nishan Naidu on the ball. Has he fumbled that? The referee's ruled that it's gone backwards. Brewer again, full of running. Fighting for meters there. The SACS boys get there eventually. The two guys lying on the ground. I hope that's not a serious injury. Redlinghayes taking ownership there. He bursts through there. And that's lovely play by Redlinghayes, taking ownership there of the fly-off channel while his fly-off's down injured, and showing his speed off the mark there with a lovely little break to finish things off there. And the score indeed goes into the 80s, sadly, for DF Malan.
Yeah, I think after this match, unfortunately, we have to wrap up quite quickly because we make ready for the next match, which is Wynberg against Maritzburg College. For everybody that's joining from afar watching this match, we had a wonderful festival thus far, the last game coming up, and then SACS winning this very comfortably by 78 points to 5 against DF Malan. They looked a complete unit. I'll be watching the rest of their season. Nick, nice commentating with you, and all the best for the rest of the SACS season. I hope to see you next to the rugby fields across the Western Province.
Thanks, Henny. It's been a great pleasure, a privilege to be here. Thanks very much.
Thank you and goodbye.
Two, Liam Larkin from SACS.